Republicans are engaged in a war, and that war is on American democracy. Now, usually they try to hide why they're doing the things they're doing. For instance, the hundreds of bills that have been introduced so far this year to restrict voting rights, they say it's for like voting security, like cutting 1 hour off of early voting days for security or whatever. But sometimes they're very honest, and we had an instance of that this week. So, asked by right-wing Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett to explain the Arizona GOP's interest in upholding a state law that disqualifies ballots cast in the wrong precinct, a restriction that voting rights advocates say discriminates against people of color, an assessment backed up last year by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, Republican lawyer Michael Carvin said this. Take a listen.
I'm interested in knowing why the RNC is in the case. So, the DNC had standing, and the district court said that it had standing to challenge the out-of-precinct policy because the policy placed a greater imperative on Democratic organizations to educate their voters, and because the policy harmed its members who would have voted out of precinct. What's the interest of the Arizona RNC here in keeping, say, the out-of-precinct ballot disqualification rules on the books?
Because it puts us at a competitive disadvantage relative to Democrats. Politics is a zero-sum game.
And sometimes a zero brains game, because he just admitted, no, we want this law to stay because it stops those people from voting, and that gives us a better chance of winning. That's their lawyer that said that, JR. Just admitting it.
They've been saying it for years, decades.
Mm-hmm.
Every time there's a disadvantage for their voting, they push back against it, or a disadvantage for only allowing people that can vote that will help them. It always started with the rich landowning white males. Every time a level of people were allowed to vote, there was pushback from the people who were already allowed to vote. So women getting a chance to vote. Oh no, women are supposed to be in the house. What's wrong with you guys? They don't have fully functioning brains. They don't really live in the real world. They take care of children and they cook and they clean. How can they vote for a politician? They're too stupid. Hey, when black folks get an opportunity to vote, hey, they're too dumb. You know that they don't have fully functioning brains. We just realized they're full human beings, but we're still not sure yet. They don't deserve those same rights. It's always the way it's been. And then after you lose the battle of whether or not they're human enough to vote, then you have to start doing it behind the scenes like this.
Yep.
And it's always been the case. The more and more people get to vote, the fewer and fewer people that have traditionally been in power get to stay in power. And guess what people in power want to do? Stay in power.
Yep.
So it's gotten to the point where they just say it out loud because they're not really sure how else to say it. They've tried many other ways and it easily gets debunked and exposed. So now just say it. Paul Weyrich, I say it every time. 1980, 1979, 1980. I think it was at the RNC or something. It was a huge Republican event.
Some big thing, yeah.
I don't want, it was maybe it was a political a speech for a particular group. I always forget where it was. I don't want people to vote. Paul Weyrich, head of a big portion of the Republican Party. I don't want people to vote. The fewer people vote, the more we win. It's just the way it is. That's the way it's always been. So, I mean, the only difference is people willing to pay attention to this and understanding everything they do is based on making sure that fewer people vote. That's why Mike Pence just came out of the woodworks just to write an op-ed about how horrible the election was that led to the insurrection, the talk like this, that led to insurrection that was looking to get him killed. The only thing more important than his life is preserving the Republican mantra that elections need to be narrowed down to just a few people that will vote for us. That's what Mike Pence is concerned about, not his life. This is the most important thing to the Republican Party because it's how they stay in power.
Yeah, I think like they've been, viciously opposed to people voting for a very long time. But one of two things is happening. Either the Republican base is becoming more comfortable with just out and out, just saying we don't want democracy, we don't want people voting. Like you can restrict rights, even if it restricts mine. I don't care, as long as the end result is more Republicans. Or Republican elected officials are just getting that the base already believe that. I would say it's probably a combination of the two, because they can just freely say it. They can do bills that are far more expansive in restricting voting rights. They can make. It's one of the only policy areas they talk about is voter ID and things like that, because they know their base is okay with it. They don't need to trick their base into supporting an anti-democratic party. their base isn't interested in democracy. They want continued white supremacist domination of American politics, society, and the economy. And they will support the party that will do that.
Yep.
If that party stops some voting, so what? They're mostly stopping non-white voting. So I don't know. I think either they're more in line than they used to be, or the politicians are just getting that they always were in line.
Apologies for botching the statement. I looked it up. Paul Weyrich in 1980, head of the Heritage Foundation. He's one of the founders. I don't want everybody to vote. As a matter of fact, our leverage, speaking to Republicans, our leverage in the elections quite candidly goes up as the voting populace goes down. So if the head of this organization says we want the voting populace to go down for us to win more, what makes you think that they don't follow that? It was just said in jest?
Yeah, and super fast to give you an idea of the particular thing that's under debate right now at the Supreme Court is effectively if you vote in the wrong precinct, they're gonna throw out your vote. Are you legally allowed to vote? Sure. Are you supposed to have rights to vote? Sure. Is there any philosophical reason why we shouldn't just apply your vote to the right precinct? No, but it's a convenient way to get rid of some types of voting. And what types of voting? Well, in 2016, for example, the rate of out of precinct voting in Pima County was 150% higher for Hispanics, 80% higher for blacks, and 74% higher for Native Americans than for white voters. Across the state, racial minorities voted out of precinct at twice the rates of whites. So if you ban it, will you ban some white conservative voters? Sure, but for every one you do there, you'll ban 1.5 to non-white voters. And that is the Democratic math that they're interested in and nothing else.
Absolutely.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.